الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما بينهما وملء ما شاء مولانا من شيء بعد. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحابته وعلى التابعين وتابعيهم، وارض اللهم عنا معهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Brothers and sisters, تطوافة في كتاب الله وسنة نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الأبوة والبنوة. After we talked about youth engagement, after we talked about desensitization, and after we warned youth and everybody not to get desensitized for sins, and after we explained the hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, that hearts will be one of two hearts. One recognizes good and one doesn't recognize any good. إِلَّا مَا أُشْرِبَ مِنْ هَوَى, except what he or she impregnated with their hearts from their own women desires. As Allah said in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون أعوذ بالله من ذلك. Brothers and sisters, we talked after that still in the area of youth engagement, and we said what are the parents' responsibilities. We talked about one thing, which is train your children from the age of 7, as Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, to the age of 10. Train them with consistency and with motivation and with love to pray. Teach them when they are so young, don't know even how to challenge your authority as a father. Teach them there is a higher authority than you and than the mother and than the grandparents. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember, one day they might make bad decisions. They will make bad decisions, as we made a lot of bad decisions. But also remember, one day they will return to what was instilled in them in the childhood. One day, by the grace of Allah, all of them, no matter how life distracted them or took them right and left, they are back to what you instilled. Today, we are in the same atmosphere of parents, children relationship. We talk today about that more from Quran and Sunnah, and we have more parent tips and youth tips from Quran and Sunnah. And we have every right as Muslims, having the Book of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to us, a book of guidance. We have every right to seek all the knowledge from the Book of Allah, from the Sunnah of Rasulullah, from 23 years of Rasulullah life with his companion, raising them to be the best generation. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Let's start with this. Everybody would love to have children. This is ingrained in human nature. It's such a thing that transcends all cultures and religions and backgrounds. Everybody would love to have children. Go to Quran. Prophet Zakaria, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا. And then ask for the son. Look in Surah Yusuf, the husband, the one who bought Yusuf alayhi salam. وقال الذي اشتراه من مصر لامرأته أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. And remember when the man who bought him from Egypt told his wife, Zulaykha, أكرمي مثواه, honor him, honor the place he lives in our palace. Asa, he might benefit us, he might be of good use for us, or we might adopt him as a son. Same exact words said by امرأة فرعون آسيا بنت مزاحم عليها رضوان الله. قالت قرة عين لي ولك لا تقتلوه. She said to Fir'aun, قرة عين, joy of it's a pleasure for you and I. Do not kill him, Musa. He might be of use, or we might adopt him as a son. You know, قرة in Arabic from قرة يستقر, like to be in one place. And قرة عين is like something so pleasure, joyful, and something so good to look at that you don't want to turn your eyesight away from it. قرة. And Rasulullah said, جعلت قرة عيني في الصلاة. The most happy thing for the Prophet and dear thing for the Prophet was prayer. Back again, it is ingrained in human nature to love to have children. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us this in Quran. المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا. Wealth, children are the adornment of this life. Allah started with wealth actually before children, even though children are more precious. But wealth, maybe subhanallah, if you have one of them, if you have both is great. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, جعلنا له مالا ممدودا وبنين شهودا. That's it. But if you have only wealth, you can enjoy life fully. But if you have only children, many children, but no wealth, it's going to be difficult for you to take care of them. Perhaps that's why Allah started with wealth first, but children. And when you go to the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah, and to go through all the beautiful dialogues between parents, look to Luqman and his son. Look to the dialogue between Ibrahim and his son Ismail. And other dialogues, Noah talked to his son, Ibrahim talked to his father or uncle, Azar. And we have many dialogues in Quran about parenting. But let's go now to the next point of today's khutbah, which is you as parents are 100% responsible for raising your children well. Yes, the community, the school, the internet, their peers, the friends, that all exist. Yet, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم رجل راع هو مسؤول عن رعيته. A man is a shepherd. Even though the household, the head of the household is the husband, but Allah made the responsibility of the husband and wife equally in raising the children. A husband, a man is shepherd and he is in charge, and so is a woman, and she is in charge. And teaching prayers and be a role model. It wouldn't make sense if you tell them to go pray and you don't. So be there the role model for them. That's the first point. Second point, you taught you're the role model. Is it 100% guaranteed answer that they will grow up as righteous Muslims? No? Son of Nuh alayhi salam wouldn't have dreamt of a better father than Nuh. And we believe Nuh as a prophet did all his fatherly duties. Yet the boy ended up kafir. At the same time, Yusuf was raised in a disbeliever's house. And from that corrupt environment, he went to more corrupt when he was thrown into the prison. And he had all his early life, yet he made up his mind. He used Allah's given faculties, and he didn't stand before Allah to say, Ya Allah, my peers and everything around me just was saying something different, and I didn't know. Allah gave you faculty. And remember, Yusuf had no one. Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim, he was one of his kind. Not just in the family, the community, in the state, in the region. He was one of his kind. Yet, he applied Allah's given faculties and he thought. And he knew that. He knew better. That's why he is the father of the prophets and who Abu Tawheed. even we as Muslims, اتبعوا ملة أبيكم إبراهيم. We are recommended and instructed to follow the millah of our great grandfather Ibrahim عليه الصلاة والسلام. So, in Surah Al-Kahf, we read about the boy Al-Khidr killed. He said, وَكَانَ أَبَوَاهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ. He killed them because his parents were believers, good people. فَخَشِينَ. That we fear that that boy when he grow up will pressure them, because Allah knows, will pressure them into defiance and disbelief. Yes, a father can be believer. In Surah Al-Ahqaf, والذي قال لوالديه أف لكما أتعدانني أن أخرج وقد خلت القرون من قبلي. And remember the one who scolded his parents, enough. Are you promising me that when I die I will raise up, I will resurrect again? I will be resurrected again? With all generations passed away for good, no one ever came back? وهما يستغيثان الله. They beg Allah, ويلك, alas, pity you, amen, believe. Parents are so heartbroken. إن وعد الله حق. The promise of Allah is the truth. But the denier, what did he say? He said it's only ancient fables. أساطير الأولين. So parents did the job, right? So the point here is, parents, if you do your job right, don't blame yourselves. If your kids didn't grow up as righteous Muslims. And children, if you didn't have the right environment, do not blame the environment. Youth, of course, not children. Allah has given you faculties. Today, actually, I just got a call half hour ago. Someone has been following us on Facebook. Here, Syracuse president. And he said, he and his family said, I would like to become Muslim. Inshallah, I'm meeting him today. He didn't have anything you had. Then Allah guided him to Islam. That young man of today, Nicholas, his name, and others, are just a sign for us. Allah has given this to us without asking. But back again to the point. Parents, don't blame yourselves. Children, do not blame anything else. Only get yourselves to blame if you do not find your way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next point. What parents need to do in addition to learning from Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Number one lesson is rahmah, mercy with your children. A Bedouin came and saw Prophet Muhammad playing with Al-Hassan wal Hussein, throwing them up in the air and hugging them and kissing them and playing. And Rasulullah goes, they ride above him as if he's a camel. And the Bedouin came to see the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam on his throne, maybe, and he found him playing. He found him playing like this. جاء أعرابي وجد النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يلعب مع الحسن والحسين فقال يا رسول أتقبل أبنائك؟ والله إن عندي 10 من الأولاد ما قبلت أحدا منهم قط. The man said to the Prophet, Wallahi, oh Prophet, do you kiss your kids? I have 10 children. I have never kissed any of them, even once. In his culture, that was unmanly, Man should not kiss and hug, should not say, I love you, should not say. And Rasulullah gave him a harsh answer. ما أفعل بك إن كان الله نزع الرحمة من قلبك. Rasulullah said, how can I help you if Allah snatched mercy from your heart? Mercy with children. Number 2. You are in a charge before Allah about your children and their faith until they are answerable to Allah. And they are answerable to Allah the moment they reach puberty. Their choice. And you cannot change their minds. all what you have is good counsel. Even Prophet Muhammad عليه الصلاة والسلام was told, ما أنت عليهم بمسيطر. You have no control over them. وفي الحديث الطويل في صحيح الإمام مسلم عن أبي هريرة قال النبي لفاطمة يا فاطمة بنت محمد سليني من مالي ما شئت والله ما أغني عنك من الله شيئا. Fatima, daughter of Muhammad, ask from my wealth, I give you as much as you like. Yet, I cannot stand before Allah to make a case on your behalf. You be mindful of Allah. We stand before Allah farda, individually. Your kids might make bad decisions. Likewise, as we made bad decisions. But, and here's the second lesson. Please love your children regardless. Provide love regardless. If they happen to leave Islam altogether, still provide love regardless. Because they will come back one day. You need to have this door ajar. You need to have this door open. When you counsel, when you advise, it's not every time, it's not every minute, it's not every day. Don't make them say, oh, Dad, here again, say Islam and all these God-related things and all these stories that no, my dad lives in a different century. Oh, Mom and her, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, والحديث رواه عبد الله بن مسعود في صحيح البخاري كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يتخولنا بالموعظة مخافة السأم عليه أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Abdullah bin Mas'ud said that Rasulullah used to choose suitable time to counsel us. Used to choose best times to advise us. So we do not get bored. That's what Allah said. He said he never pestered us with a lot of counseling and advice and knowledge. So we don't get bored. يتخولنا. Wallah, when you read the surah, Sin of Rasulullah, and you find that after Fajr, time of dhikr, and Rasulullah is making tasbih. والحديث رواه سمرة. رواه جابر ابن سمرة رضي الله عنه. وأخرجه الإمام مسلم. That Rasulullah is making dhikr. And they were recalling times of ignorance, أيام الجاهلية. Tell stories, they were chatting. ونضحكوا. And we used to laugh. And Rasulullah might smile, just responding to us, having good. Even though it is time, Rasulullah would have said, everybody, this is time for tasbih, make tasbih until sunrise. Yes, it's great. But Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam chooses times. And that's what Luqman did. وإذ قال لقمان لابنه. Luqman chose. وإذ قال. It's not counseling all the time. It shows time, and that's another series we can talk about how Luqman advised and counseled his son. So, if your kids chose anything far away from Islam, love them no matter what. Put food on the table and keep your arms stretched and keep making sincere dua. And one day, inshallah, they will return. And let's understand this from this list. Yaqub alayhi salam, Prophet Yaqub, his sons came to him with بدم كذب وجاءوا على قميص, they brought the shirt of Joseph, with fake blood, and they said the wolf ate him. قال بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا. He said, no. He cried, you had an evil plan. Your soul tempted you to do something. And then what? They took away his son Yusuf. What did he say? فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. I'm left with nothing but beautiful patience. وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. Yaqub lived in pain. His sons in the house. He was still a father to them. And that was the end of it. But that was not the end of it. We know the story. They go to Egypt and they come back without Benjamin, his second most beloved son. And he repeats the same thing. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. I'm only left with beautiful patience. عَسَى اللَّهُ أَيَّ. May Allah bring them all back to me, Yusuf. He never expelled them from the house. We didn't read this in the story. And Allah guided them all. And they grew up in a house of prophethood. And they returned to be good people when Yusuf, at the end of the story, we know that. So, it requires effort for you to be well composed when your son is doing this and that and your daughter's doing this and that. And you go crazy. Where this is coming from? I raised them up well. Ya akhi, subhanallah, it happens. As we said. وَهُمَا يَسْتَغِيثَانِ اللَّهَ وَيْلَكَ. But patience and dua and be the father to them, be the mother to them. Sincere dua, and inshallah Allah will return into the straight path. We talk to parents today, mercy, advising, not so frequent. Choose the best time. Rasulullah, in giving advice, even Allah, he has his art of giving advice. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. And no matter what they do, accept them and love them regardless. Accept them the way they are. And know that they will return to what you instilled in them. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة وسلاما على عباده الذين اصطفى. Brothers and sisters, we're talking to parents. If you're a parent, if you plan to be a parent today, and we heard many stories about parents who didn't like the way their children chose their way of life when they were teens. But those children, when they grew up and when they became parents, they thought, no, we don't want our children to be anything other than righteous Muslims. And they were guided back. And we see this example daily, wallahi, even in our masjid here. And remember, by you being righteous, وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا فَأَرَادَ رَبُّكَ أَن يَبْلُغَا أَشُدَّهُمَا. You being righteous is a protection to your children. فاللهم احفظ أبناءنا وبناتنا. اللهم احفظ بحفظك. اللهم خذ بنواصينا إليك أخذ الكرام عليك. اللهم خذ بنواصينا إليك أخذ الكرام عليك. واختم لنا بخير. اللهم إنا نسألك حسن الخاتمة. اللهم إنا نسألك